Right, time now for day 2 of our Cheltenham Festival preview on Racing Weekly. Let's start with the Ballymore, Pat. Great chance here for Britain, for Paul Nicholls.
Yeah, and just to confirm, again, throughout the 4 days, we'll be doing our price boost on one horse that the traders think is vulnerable at the top end of the market. And at 10 o'clock, there'll be a super boost, would you believe? So a considerable increase. And they will be single-figure priced horses. So take a look at the website there. Yeah, Hermes Allen. At the start of the year, they paid big money for him, and they ran him at Stratford. And we all like Stratford. I'm staying there for the Cheltenham week, but you don't really run your superstars at Stratford, do you? So they were desperate to try and win with him, and he did win well. He's come out and won well since. He won a Challow Hurdle. He certainly looks the part. But he's priced accordingly, isn't he? 5-2. He doesn't scream bet for me. Impare Pass, I think he's a very talented horse. He's also good enough to be in the Supreme. He's going to go here instead, though. There has been money for him. He was 4. He's now around about 100 to 30. I think if they get there on the day, Impare Pass will be favourite in front of Hermes Allen. Okay. I don't think Hermes Allen. He hasn't. To me, he's been winning easily. Harry Cobden loves him, but
what more do you want?
Well, this is a different kettle of fish, isn't it? You know, we had, you know, I just think he's too short for me. Other horses of note, well, Goodland, as you touched on, you spoke to Barry Connell. This is an underrated horse, I feel. And the Gaelic Warrior, we don't know where he's going to go, but he brings a high level of form to the table as well. I'm an Impare Passe fan, but it's interesting with Goodland. I was actually going to ask about the jockey here, Michael O'Sullivan, who rides the Marine on day 1. What do you think? I know he's ridden 39 winners, but he's not ridden them on the big stage before, has he?
He won the Royal Bond when he couldn't claim, and he showed a lot of confidence when the horse missed the last Marine Nationale. I actually interviewed him last week, and he said, and I kind of evoked memories of my own past. He was saying, we were walking the cows home from the milking, and the cows were walking quite slow that day, so I looked up the entries at Punchestown and I saw Marine Nationale was entered, so I asked Barry Connell for the ride. I just rang him and asked for the ride, and that's why he has all the rides ever since, because he's a young point-to-point rider who's still claiming, and he's very, very good, but he can claim obviously in grade 1s.
Okay, what do you like, Sam?
I like Champ Kiley. I think he's a bit of a hard knock-in. You know, he was 4th in the Royal Bond. That wasn't his trip. 2 miles. He won the Laurel of Nace, which Envoy Allen, and what else has won that recently?
It's a very good list.
Bob Ollinger.
Actually. Yeah.
So it's a good stepping stone to this race. I think he tries hard. He hurdles pretty well. He sticks his neck out. He's got the speed for 2. He stays 2.5 well. He probably's not as flashy as 1 or 2 of these, but I think if you're looking for an each-way bet at sort of around 13-2, 7-1, I think he fits most criteria, really.
Champ Kiley. Okay, good land for you here, or something else, Johnny?
I like Impare Pass. The horse that Sam mentioned there, he was sent off odds on in the Royal Bond that I mentioned, and in fairness, he didn't run badly, and he was available at a much bigger price in the Lawlers, which is Nace is a fantastic track, and it's a really good trial for Cheltenham. But Impare Pass actually won his first race in Ireland in Nace. It was one of these days where the hurdles were omitted. There were no hurdles jumped at all in the straight, but he, at the bypass last hurdle, he was upsides everything. He won by like 17 or 18 lengths. He was so bloodless the next day. Wants a trip. I think he's fairly bulletproof.
What do you reckon here, Nick?
I'm going to stick with the Paul Nicholls. Hermes Allen, agreed with Pat. Like when he ran at Stratford, I was not impressed by him at all, and I thought, well, Ireland's let him go. He got beat in his first point-to-point, looked fairly average. They paid 350,000, but Paul Nicholls did what Paul Nicholls does. He breathes confidence into the horses, and what he did with Newbury, I thought was, very impressive. And I think this horse is improving with Paul's training, and I think he could just be, could be the winner. Be a proper horse good as well going forward.
Yeah, I mean, he jumped beautifully. He travels really nicely. Went on different ground when he won at Newbury. The form of the race was actually worked out pretty well. You Wear It Well came out. She won at Sandown. She's obviously quite well fancied for the mares, novices. Even Thomas Moore, who was pulled out, came out and won the same weekend or the same week that You Wear It Well won. He bolted up at Ascot. I think he's if he does lengthen in the market and he does get replaced, I think that'll be quite handy, because I think he's got a great chance.
See, that will professional punters invest heavily in a British novice? I actually don't know.
Probably not this one, the Challow.
Yeah, it's a poor record, and I just don't know. I think people say Paul Nicholls taking on Willie, haven't taken on Irish horse before, and I'm not being funny, but I think actually I would wonder about that.
Well, if you look at the record, Willie Mullins has won the race 5 times. Paul Nicholls yet to win it, so there's that.
We probably know what the price boost is going to be, don't we? Wednesday morning.
It's funny though, he could bolt up. He could be an absolute machine, but it's
that's the thing.
Watch this space.
And he has one round the track as well, hasn't he? Yeah. You know, he has one round the track, and he's one of those horses that sort of hid his ability under a bushel a little bit. So we're not quite sure we've got to the bottom of him yet.
Okay, that's the Ballymore. The Brown Advisory Novices Chase. Talk to me, Pat. Jerry Colomb, good thing?
Jerry, I think so. I thought I thought we could get him beat at Sandown last time because I thought the trip was wrong, and the ground was wrong. 2 good reasons to get him beat. You know, as bookmakers, we only need one reason to get him beat, and we had 2 all of a sudden jump out the page at us, and he defied both there. This is all set up for him, isn't it? I think his 2-1 out of all the the odds against favourites, I'd rather back him at his 2-1 than Hermes Allen at his 5-2, for example. The real whacker, I don't get why they keep saying, oh, we might run in the Gold Cup, we might run here. I mean, he was at Kelso, Patrick, now, and I said to him, well, he was, because we met at the dinner on the Friday night. And even then, he was, he's good enough to win the Gold Cup this year. He'll win it next year. And you're thinking, mate, you're 50-1 or 5-1. What are you going to do? And he went, but we're leaning towards the novice, and he'll run in the novice. You can be sure of that. Don't worry. Time Hill, I like everything about Time Hill apart from his age. He's a 9-year-old. Good enough. We know he's solid enough, but I just think they're all bumping into one. Jerry Colombo, I think he'll win this.
Do you? Okay. Well, I think there was a bit of value in the race, to be honest. If you really like Jerry Colombo, you've got like Thunder Rock. I don't think everything went right for him at Sandown last time, and it didn't go right for him at the Dipper either. Yeah. I think he's bred to get better over 3. Just speaking to somebody who's involved with the horse, he does need sort of regular injections for his back. It's not the greatest. And I think they were wearing off a little bit by the time the Dipper came round. So there's a little bit of improvement to come there. That you have to leave 3 weeks before he gets his injection and when he can run. So they had to be very careful with him there. I think he's 14-1 with you. And I think this is a race that could cut up quite badly, if I'm honest. Time Hill I really like you say, the age is not great. And the fact that he's got Tom O'Brien on him. That's no disrespect to Miguel Nolan, who's going to ride him. Yeah. But he's got good synchronicity with Tom O'Brien, and that would be a bit of a negative for me. Galab de Menil won't run. I don't think Stage Star will run. James de Burley, he was awful at Leopardstown. Sir Gerhard, I mean, I just don't know how to evaluate and equate what he's managed to do. So Thunder Rock at 14s I like, and I like the Real Whacker. I think he's a really tremendous horse. Yeah. This should be the target. Talking about the Gold Cup's absolute bollocks. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. You can go next year, but you've seen with a number of Patrick Neville horses this year.
Connie Gree.
Sorry?
Connie Gree.
Yeah, you get the odd one here and there, but there's been plenty that have got stuffed and their careers have been ended trying to go head-to-head with Galopin Deschamps and friends. So I think this is the race for him. I think you get out and dominate. He's been around Cheltenham as well, which I love. And you've seen Patrick Neville's horses, when they do make the run in, they don't stop. So he's had a really good year.
Johnny, what's the story with Sir Gerhard? I mean, is he going to run in this race?
I'd be totally against him if he did. I think this is not his trip. Performance at Goran, he was like, there's a photo, if I can find it actually, of him. I sent it to William Mullins. Can we? And it was more like, this is what a photo this is, and he sent back one of those.
I'm a bit worried about these photos you're sending to William Mullins. I'm looking at 1 or 2 of them.
This one was sent during the day. There it is. So that's him going into the fence, and he looks like almost like a ballet dancer or something.
Quite pretty, actually.
Step.
So he's
stepping into the fence.
He went a big price in running. I can't really get it up here, but that's
one for the editors to do.
Yeah, that's been a theme in the first half of the show. But I couldn't have him. But the more you look at it, what a price Time Hill is each way. Yeah. If you look at the last year he beat McFabulous 15 lengths. If you look at his performance in the Stayers Hurdle last year, the horses behind him, seriously good horses.
Yep.
He's a 9-year-old, but he's only run like 17 times. That wouldn't worry me at all, actually. A 9-year-old who's been lightly raced is better than an 8-year-old who's raced too much. Philip Hobbs, don't underestimate Philip Hobbs. And 11-2 each way. Would Jerry Colombe have been capable last year, albeit as a younger horse, of beating everything bar Flooring Porter, who got a very, very soft ride in the Stayers Hurdle? Paisley Park champ, Classical Dream, home by the Lee, all in behind, and he jumps fences really well. I mean, I just the more I look at the race, I think he's a great bet each way.
Time Hill. Nick, what do you like?
Yeah, agreed. Time Hill.
Really likeable horse as well. Sorry.
Yeah, and I don't think he was given a fair crack. The first 2 runs he ran on was on very quick ground at Exeter and at Newbury, and he hates quick ground. And when he got his soft ground in the Grade 1 at Kempton, he bolted up. And all I think that good ground did is sharpen up his jumping. Micheal Nolan scored him this morning. He said he was electric. And I think if they do get the rain, it only enhances his chances. He'll stay well. His jumping will be sharper. And just feel for Tom O'Brien, who's missing with a collarbone injury. So, but no, Micheal would have rode him out plenty, and he would have no negatives with him, I wouldn't have thought.
He's looked a different horse in the cheap pieces as well. And I mean, they've just been the catalyst to him sort of attacking his fences rather than being hesitant.
Well, in an excellent interview that Sarah Hobbs did on ITV after he won at Kempton.
Who was that with?
I don't know. I can't
They actually played out one of your interviews, did they?
But it was
good.
an excellent interview. But she pointed out that the cheek pieces, working him in the cheek pieces, had sharpened him up. His jumping had sharpened up before that win at Kempton. And they felt like he was a different horse. They were very confident going into the Kempton win. So hopefully that will have the same effect. I like him as well, especially at the prices at the moment. So Time Hill and the Brown Advisory. On to the Coral Cup. Pat, go.
Yeah, this is a fascinating market mover here. Campron, number 40 on the card as we speak, trained by Philip Hobbs. We just gave him a name check. And this horse was 4th in this race last year of just a couple of pound higher. But you're backing a horse whose form figures are U4B08. And I was at Musselburgh last time out on, I think it was on the Sunday, I think he ran. And he finished 8th, and he was well beat. And I didn't walk out of Toaster Racecourse that day thinking this will be Musselburgh Racecourse.
Greyhounds.
I didn't walk out of Musselburgh thinking this will be favourite for the Coral Cup based on what I've just seen. But there has been significant support from him. Okay, we know he's trained by JP. He's got the, if he comes back to
I'd love to see JP in the Gallops training him.
Yeah, but he's now...
JP wouldn't even tell JP what was going to happen.
But he's now 7-1. And yeah, I get it. The ground, if he gets good ground, the ground was too soft for him last year. He still got beat 10 lengths last year. Yeah. So if you've backed him and, good luck to you, but you can't put him up as value at 7-1. He was well beat. At the top of the market is Run for Oscar.
Have you spoken to your mate?
Charles, no, well, I was at Haydock when this horse ran, and it had top weight, and his son was actually suspended for an erroneous ride, and they booked this other Danny King, I think it was, who's highly regarded,
the brother of Connor,
yeah, and Charles said, the ground might be too soft. It was very testing that day at Haydock, but it wasn't that bad, and the horse ran well, and of course he always going to turn up at Cheltenham for the Coral Cup. He's got a lot more to like about him. But I'd say if you're on the Campron bandwagon, good luck to you. But not for me. You can't be 8th at Musselburgh and come and win a Coral Cup. Well, you can, I suppose. But other horses in the race, we got Benson, who won our Moor Battle Hurdle at Kelso. He'll be going for this, $100,000 bonus. Yep. He's an 8-year-old fully exposed. I actually fancy one here.
Go.
I'm dying to ask Johnny about it. This is a horse who was 4th in the Stayers Hurdle 2 years ago to Flooring Porter. He was a failed novice chaser, and he came back to form last time when he was 3rd to Blazing Cal over hurdles, and he's called Beacon Edge, trained by Noel Mead. What do you think of him?
Yeah, Noel's horse is coming into a bit of form as well. He obviously wouldn't have the best Cheltenham record. I'm just looking, I don't know what mark he actually has.
He's 147, having been 158.
Yeah, it's an interesting profile as well, and it's a very open race. The one thing about the JP horse you mentioned, what'd you say, he was 4th in the Coral Cup last year?
4th last year, yeah.
So then he ran against Faster Slow, who I like for that I mentioned earlier. He ran against him at Punchestown and bolted up. So that was off, I think, 137. And he's 138 here, which effectively means that he's very well in from a British mark that's like only £1 higher than an Irish mark. Andy Holding was the special guest yesterday. He made a very good case for Run for Oscar, in fairness, to win the Cesarewitch as he did a national hunt bred horse, and he's obviously been trained for the race. And in fairness to Bet365, they'll probably offer at least 5 places, maybe even 6 for a race like this. So you get your guaranteed odds and all that. So probably go with Campron just in the case if I think he's been trained for the race. But
I'm the only one who hasn't backed this, I think.
I haven't backed it, but I could see what you could see what they were doing. Like they've worked miracles to get this horse. Like it sounds like a UB40 album. Like it's U4B08.
It's a Wi-Fi code, isn't it?
Yeah. Although you can't remember it.
It wasn't intentional, though, was it?
No.
Like, look in the way it got unseated.
It's just how it's happened, isn't it?
It was unfortunate, and it's funny. Like the trainer said regarding improved form shown, his horses have come back into form in recent weeks. Well, that's convenient. I mean, he knew it because he was like 40s into 3-1. But anyway,
application of cash always helps.
Yes, it does.
I backed him in the race last year, and it anti-post and it absolutely hosed down the night before, didn't it?
Yep.
He did really well to finish 4th. He's a good ground horse.
Luke de Vega
Bolted up at Punchestown on good ground. If it does avoid the rain, Presby Park, then he's got to have a massive chance, but the edge has gone from it. A couple I like are Winter Fog. I think he's a very, very interesting runner.
He's a similar mark to Presenting Percy when Presenting Percy won the Pertemps, and it looked like he got a hike too far, but he won so easy the last day. And he's another horse. Paul Byrne, I was just saying this the other day, I used to work with Paul. Paul is like 31. He's already sold 3 horses to JP McManus. He's already had 8 horses rated at least 140.
Sold a Grand National winner.
Sold a Grand National winner. He's 31. He's teetotal as well, and I think there's an example to us all there.
That's a lesson
there.
I mean, what we could have achieved.
Our chance is gone. Just on Run for Oscar, I should point out Steve Ryder's done some great stats, as he always does, and he's pointed out that 10 of the last 13 winners had previously run at Cheltenham, so that's not a positive sign for Run for Oscar, something to bear in mind.
Yeah, and that's a good sign for Winter Fog, who obviously ran really well in the Pertemps last year.
Didn't quite get home.
No, and he wore the hood last year. I wonder whether they'll sort of dispense with that as they did at Leopardstown. I like him, and I think Ballyadam will run well. I thought he ran really well behind Gaelic Warrior, missed the last out.
Yep.
He ran well in the county hurdle last year. I think up in trip for him now. He's only 8. He's only had 11 starts over hurdles, even though he looks though he's been around forever.
Nick?
I'm going for up and coming trainer Sam Thomas. Good risk at all.
Oh, yeah.
A real likeable horse. Probably well handicapped because things haven't gone his way. They tried 3 miles at Haydock last time, ran far too keen. He needs a strong run, 2.5. This horse will really get down and try for you. He's a good stayer over this trip. Sam won the big handicap last week. Looks well handicapped. I still think he's improving, this horse. Good risk at all. He'll be low enough at the weights. So, Sam Thomas, trainer festival winner.
All right. HMS Seahorse is one of my favourites. He's such a great
horse,
attitude. Yeah. He's, last season he ran well at the festival last year. He's looked good again this season. Did well on the flat as well. I just think he's a rock solid horse, and I can't see him being far away. He seems to be at home in the hustle and bustle of those big races. Right, the Champion Chase. We're keeping the pace up, Pat.
Yeah, Energumene is currently favoured at 7-4. We were joint with Edwardstone, but Energumene is just about gone favourite now. It's a fascinating race, isn't it? It much depends on how the pace settles in front. You'd imagine the Gary Moore horse, Editor Jajit, will probably bowl along in front, but he's not a surprise anymore. We know where to find him this time around, don't we? So that's easy. I just thought, I was impressed with Gentleman to Me last time out, but that was at Leopardstown. He might just be better in Ireland. I backed him in the Martin Pipe 2 years ago, and he was 4-1, and he ran awful. So I just got that. I don't know if he's a Cheltenham horse or not, but he is a spring horse. I know that much. I just think on balance, I'd be interested in Nick's take on this. The race sets up more better for him being a hold-up horse, just sitting behind all the ones going free in front. Should he have won last time out? I thought he should have done, really, when he came to challenge Editor. I was expecting him to go by. But I just think the tactics of the race might set up better for him. Energumene, as much as they were saying they were okay with the run last time out, the connections were on big time. Yeah. So, it wasn't like they were getting negatives from the owners. The owner did back him.
Okay. What's your thoughts on how the race might be run, Nick? Tom would delay it.
I don't think Paul Townend will be sat behind Editor to give like he did last time. He was just jumping in the back. He was obviously cautious of not taking him on. Whether one goes on the inside, one goes on the outside, and they just try not to race. But he's not going to be. I just felt last time he was jumping into the back of horses and taking away what his asset was. So I think you can write that run off, and you'll see a much better performance. But for me, Alan King would have trained this Edwardstone all year long for this. He looked like he just half blew up the hill for me last time. Tom Cannon, rode him confidently. He still had a lot of ground to make up that day, and he will be a lot sharper for that run. He was not a horse I ever really shone to, when he was a novice. But what he's done this year, I think he's more than capable of mixing it with the big boys. And I think it will set the race, like the boys say, it will set up for him.
Okay, Johnny, am I thinking that in Willie Mullins's place they've been doing some painting to the takeoff boards?
Yeah, I think they'll ride him differently. What price is he now, Pat Edwardstone?
Edward is 2 and
Energy Mean
7 or 4.
So if you backed him and he's odds on sort of before the off, does that give you a cash out opportunity? If it does, yeah, because I do think he'll shorten. I think if Tony Bloom backs him, which I think he will, you got to remember last year the rain did come on the Wednesday. I think that was definitely a help to him. But I think they'll ride him differently. One of my rare anti-post bets this year was Blue Lord at 33s each way, and he was into 3s after the 2 horses were beaten at Cheltenham the last day. And Willie's rarely wrong, but I think running him the Ryanair is madness. I think he's an out and out 2-miler, and I'd be very disappointed if he ends up going there, which I think he probably will. I think he'll run better, but I think Honor Jameen's going to be well backed here. I think he'll be ridden from the front. I could see him going off odds on.
Sam,
has he still got an account with you?
Yeah,
he's cashing out before the race. He wants a back stake man each way. I should cut him quick.
I doubt it'd be odds on. He might be odds on in running, but
what price do you give me? He goes off odds on.
At least 5 to 1.
I'll have one.
Provided the others turn up.
Is this allowed?
We'll have a chat at the bar. Yeah.
I was told by other bookmakers then don't do this anymore, but maybe that's just me.
No, that was Simon Clare. Was that? Yeah.
It's not being filmed anyway. It's not being filmed anyway.
Sam, who wins the
Edwardstone?
Edwardstone.
I was a little bit perturbed that he hadn't had the ideal preparation, but I think Alan's happy with him now. I think I could see there's only 11 entered. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And 4 of those like to go forward. Editor de G, Gentleman de Me, Grenadine perhaps, and Funambule Savola. I think that sets up nicely for Edwardstone. I just think he's the least likely to bomb out. I know that's strange considering he has tipped up occasionally, but got plenty of form around Cheltenham. I'd love to see him win for Alan.
I don't follow French race, but where are the French runners for a race like this? There must be something.
11 realise we race in Britain again now.
Have you seen the prize money?
Yeah, but do you know, horses come over to Royal Ascot because of the prestige, and I don't know. I mean, Cheltenham, the likes of Barracuda made so much of a difference to Cheltenham. I think it's missing. I really do. Surely the French have some good 2-milers that could run in this.
Well, traditionally, I'm trying to think of the 2 good miler. Now that you've said it, I don't really, obviously remember Barracuda and the fellow, etc., and First Goal, but I don't really remember too many 2-milers. But anyway, I'm going to throw one at you guys. Nuba Negra. If the rain doesn't come,
could happen.
Oh, it's not too much rain. His record at Cheltenham is terrific. Over hurdles, he was 3rd in the Boodles when he got to the front and probably looked like the best horse in the race and just ran a puff. He was 2nd, obviously, in the Queen Mother Champion Chase behind Put the Kettle On, where he should have won with a cleaner run. He'd have won the race. And he's won the Schlur Chase twice. Fresh. The ground is the only worry for me. If it was decent ground. So I think what price is he, Pat? Nuba Negra.
25.
That is not a bad. I was looking at that yesterday. You could definitely make a case.
The way the race is going to be fast pace, he jumps and he travels, and I thought he could run into a place again. So that would be mine.
Getting 3 places at the moment as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Cross country. Is this a worthy race?
No, but to be fair, it was part of the calendar. If I went out for a cup of tea here, I'd finish, and they'd still have half the race to run. So. Not for me, but in fairness, people get emotional about Tiger Roll and that, so it has its place, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Pat?
This is a race where you just say to your mate, right, come on then, let's go to the bar, isn't it? We'll queue up now.
Everybody's at the bar then.
50,000 other people.
I just see them finishing in price order, really. Delta Work, Galvin, Franco de Port, who never seems to win, but he's okay as well. You could conceivably say Galvin's a better horse than Delta Work, definitely. But this is horses for courses, isn't it? This is Delta Work. He beat Tiger Roll a year ago. Galvin's a very interesting runner. 1's at odds on, 10 to 11 Delta Work. Galvin at 5-2. They should be each a 2 in terms of ability, but as I say, that's on regulation fences. This is the cross country. I just think the favourite will win. D. Sharaba of Philip Hobbs. There's been a few quid around for that, but is he better at Sandown? Not for me. I suppose if I could lob in one at value, Snow Leopardess is currently 25-1, and she's on pace to run in this race. Yeah. So you can back a non-runner no bet 25-1 right now. And she'll probably start 10 or 12 on the day, but this, I keep it short and sweet. I think Delta Work will beat Galvin, and the rest of them will be daylight behind.
Sam?
A tentative each way bet for Back on the Lash. He just runs the track so well. I know he hasn't got a chance really on the ratings. He's probably got 2 stone to find with some of them, but if Pat's putting up 4 and 5 places, for those of us who don't want to go and have a cup of tea, we might back him, avail ourselves of the 16.
Speaking of, what price is Guinness at the Cheltenham next?
What price is Guinness?
Expensive enough.
Anyone know?
7.5 quid.
7.50, is it? Yeah.
You never buy one, Rish. How do you know?
Oh no, I've heard.
7.50 for a pint of Guinness in England is up there with the worst value ever.
Well, hang on a second. Here, pie,
it's not bad here tonight.
Pie and pint, £10.
There we go.
And Johnny Ward.
Yeah.
Worthy.
What was the first 2?
Right. Do you fancy anything here, Nick?
I agree with Pat. Delta Works are probably a good thing, but
Do you enjoy riding a race like this?
yeah, I was schooling over the fences this morning. Aidan Coleman was on Snow Leopardess. The only thing I'd have about, obviously for me, Galvin's the best horse in the race, but just a bit of inexperience. No matter what horse you take there, they always just have a look. You need to be really agile and really quick. So if you've got experience like Delta Work, then it makes a massive difference.
He didn't. I'm just trying to think. Delta Work hadn't run over. He hadn't run in a cross-country race last year, but he had schooled. Yeah. And, of course, this was typically you hear this afterwards. Jack Kennedy was smiling after he did his piece of work, which we were told, not after the piece of work, but after the race itself. Yeah. I knew when Jack Kennedy was smiling. You didn't tell me that before the race. So, maybe you can school them over, and if they take what they do.
Yeah. I mean, Snow Leopardess has done quite a bit of schooling.
Yeah, she looked sharp this morning. Yeah. Obviously, she had the run there previously, but she'll need to improve her form. Yeah. But they usually come on for the run.
Indeed. Can we talk about a race that I think you must be looking forward to? Fingers crossed. I don't know what's going to happen, so we're not sure yet at the moment, are we? Who's going to definitely ride Orcan Risk?
I think Tom Cannon rides.
Presuming. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, obviously, that was sad in many ways for you.
As a jockey, you're the last to hear about anything, and you just got to say yes, no, thank you. And sometimes you want to say piss off, fuck you. But actually,
never again.
Closed mouth catches no flies. That's what I was always told.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if he's going to line up for the Grand Annual. Talk to me about what sort of chance you'd think he would have watching.
To be honest, I've only ever ridden him once, and that was in a Betfair Hurdle. Yeah. He pocketed 80 grand, so thank you very much. Good luck. But no, I seen him out the other day. Chris seems to think he's a better horse over fences. He's an agile jumper. He'll love the old course. The only negative I have, if they do get the rain, he pings off good ground. Yeah. Whether if it went soft, then you'd have to have your reserves.
All right. Pat?
Yeah, well, Auchenry is currently vying for favouritism. He's just been overtaken in the market by Dino Blue, another JP McManus horse. There was a good few quid flying around for this one. She's now 7-1. I backed her last year, actually, in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. She finished last of 9. It was not my finest hour, really, and certainly not hers. So you got a reservation. That was a one and only time round Cheltenham, but... clearly that's in the she's much better than that section, but definitely worth paying attention to. There was good money round for her. You can put up several in this race. There's 2 of note, really, both trained by Dan Skelton. Third time lucky. He's an interesting one. He might have other options as well. And the one that it's been in the eye catcher section, the winner. Is it? Yeah. Well, the stablemate Unexpected Party. That's gone in the notebook. Oh,
here we go.
Few groans as well.
No, that's a winner.
But I thought either of those two. I'd go with Team Skelton here, either Third Time Lucky or Unexpected Party. I'd probably lean towards Unexpected Party, but interesting to see if Dan does run both, who his brother ends up on. But I would definitely respect Dinah Blue, and if you pretend that last 9 last year didn't happen, then you're very much of interest.
Sam?
I'm a complete sucker for an utter shithouse, basically. That's why we work together. So Curse Sublime for me, really.
Goodness.
I know.
Absolute
Unbelievable.
pig.
Absolutely, but I could just see him arriving there. He won't go up the hill, but he'll give you a bit of fun at 12-1 each way. I thought he ran really well behind Rebel Gold, to be fair.
Okay.
Time was quick, swift. I think a bit of good ground. They should have run him in the race last year, really, and they ran him in the champion chase.
All right. Johnny, who's going to finish second to Unexpected Party?
Chris Gordon is actually going to give you the ride, and he's watching live now. He's like, well, if you're going to be like that about it.
I really like that, to be honest.
He would
Good character, is he?
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great to see him win a big race like that and the emotion that it still brings about in people.
It was a great day for
He
him.
kept kissing me, and he's got a wife. I was a bit worried.
He's some barnet on you, in fairness. It's not a jockey's haircut.
Just for men.
I can't have Dino Blue. I'm so disappointed in the mares race last year. It's funny, she's been given a mark of 140, which is more or less on parity with the... I'm not really sure about it. She's been kind of brushed aside in her last couple of races, particularly at Cork when she went 1.1 in running. If Saint Raw runs in this, I think he's very interesting. He's a lot of class, but it's not a race I'd be getting heavily involved in. If Curse Sublime wins it, we can probably forget about the next couple of days.
Okay. Do you fancy anything other than watching, seeing, hoping? All right. It doesn't matter anyway, unless you can get on Unexpected Party. Okay, one more race on the Wednesday. The Champion Bumper going to Ireland again, no doubt, Pat?
Yeah, you could certainly see the Irish finishing in the first 5 at least, really, in this. I think the market's gradually getting itself in order here now, and I do expect the Dream to Share will go off favourite. This one has been about 11-2 a week or so ago, a recent purchase for JP McManus. And I just think, I don't know really the form because you think, well, there won't be an English runner, so I won't pay too much attention to it. I'll just see how the market settles down. But I do think a Dream to Share, very shrewd trainer, John Kiley. I would imagine this one will go off favourite. One thing I would say, if you're a fun fan, don't be disappointed if Patrick Mullins isn't riding it because he can't do 11 stone. Mm-hmm. So you'll probably get somebody else on him. So don't go thinking, well, Patrick gets first option. He won't be on this one. So that would be an interesting one there. It's going to go to Ireland. I think a Dream to Share is the one. Interesting, I was going to ask Johnny about the jockey bookings. This horse has been ridden by Mr. J.L. Gleeson, claiming
Brian Gleeson's son.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's...
Now, this is the big moment. Do you say, OK, you've got the rider? You just say, hang on, the business takes over. We're putting Jamie Codd or Derek O'Connor.
Yeah, JP might be of the type to... say I have a good relationship with John Kiley and I'd be happy for Brian's son to ride. That's an interesting one, actually. I hadn't thought about that. Be a great story. John Kiley and his brother Paddy were riding out horses up until very recently into their 80s, and I think when you see the BHA are kind of looking at people who think the whip is cruel, like bring people to a yard and bring them to see horses and bring them to see John Kiley and Paddy and the care that they give horses, and at 80 years of age riding out these massive thoroughbreds. And I asked him recently, "You still riding out?" He said, no, I broke my femur or something a couple of years ago, so that kind of stopped me doing it, like just matter of fact. Like, and he said he gave me a glint in his eye and he said, "I'm going to have a runner at the Dublin Racing Festival. I'm really excited." And it was this horse, and it'd be a great story. I'd love to see it. He's an absolute gent, and I'd love to see it. I actually like Gordon's horse in the race, whose name I forgot, that was second at Down Royal, and
Better Days Ahead.
Better Days Ahead. We actually did a podcast earlier with Emma Nagle. Emma Nagle's dad, the Nagles, bred this horse. The day he was beaten at Down Royal by Karen Funnock, who was actually only a sort of a good horse. There was no pace in the race. He was very good the last day. The horse of Willie's he beat is the same price as him, even though he beat him about 3.5 lengths. I think the gallop is key here. I backed Fernie Hollow in this race. Otherwise, I have a terrible record in it. I like backing a horse at a reasonable price in it because I think horses aren't designed for bumpers. They're certainly not designed for running in bumpers at Cheltenham. So I'd like a price, and I think Better Days Ahead's about 12s, Pat, maybe. Yeah, so that's not a bad bet in my view.
All right. Sam, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I've just gone round and round with all these Mullins horses.
Yeah.
I think it's impossible to give out an accurate and honest tip until you've seen the final field, to be honest. But the one horse I quite like, I was quite taken with him when he beat Meatloaf, was Fiercely Proud of Ben Paulings. They paid a few quid for him. I think at Don Cantillon's yard when he won at Market Raisin, first time for them. I thought he did well to win. Finished like a bat out of hell that day. And I think he's 33s with you. He's probably.
I mean, the silence on that.
I know,
pun.
tumbleweed on it. Tumbleweed. Not for the first
It's disappointing,
time,
actually, because it was a great line.
I mean, 3 of us give it a chance, and only 2 put it up. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Done me there, hasn't he?
Pathetic.
We've another half of this shit.
There's 2 more days to go.
We're laughing
Fancy
inside.
anything here?
Captain Teague, Paul Nicholls, his form's not good enough at Plumpton, but I think the talk's high. Tom Malone promised me it's the best horse he's ever bought, which...
Wow.
He hasn't said that before ever, has he?
But he did, yeah. But no, I think that was it's the biggest price. I actually ride one that's any price you like, 100 to 1, Bullets Hill. It's dual bumper winner. Like, call me mad, but if you can back top 6 and you get 10 to 1, it won't be far away. It wasn't quite right, and it won under a penalty at Carlisle.
Who's it by?
It's the grey horse, Kingston Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Kingston Hill.
By Kingston Hill. Yeah.
One,
you need to call
Ledger.
me there. Lucky
On
I'm
the
sharp.
Ledger, yeah.
Yeah, no, but he's a big grey horse, and he's a 6-year-old, so he's a bit stronger, and he'll keep galloping.
Okay. Sam will know that I've bored him and the Racing Weekly.
What are you going to tip
listeners.
here, Rish?
Well, I can't not tip her now, can I? I mean, I've been going on about Queen's Gamble for this race since she won last season.
Since she was foaled.
Well, I didn't know her then. We've only just got to know each other in the last couple of years. But in fairness, she's only been beaten once. She got beaten by what I think is a very good horse of Fergal O'Brien's at Market Raisin and was conceding weight. But her 2 wins at Cheltenham, visually, extremely impressive. She relishes the Cheltenham Hill. So I'm not so disappointed with the fact that she got beaten giving weight away at Market Raisin. The race didn't suit her. She's obviously going to be getting weight from all her rivals. So I think she's about 16, 20 to 1, I think, each way. I can see her getting into the places.
Won't be a dry eye in the house, will there?
Wouldn't be a dry eye. It would be quite a story where Oliver Sherwood back.
How many places do you think? Yeah.
I'd imagine we'd certainly be first 4 on the race come the day, and who knows if we get a max field, we might push it out to first 5. And I think she probably wants rain. Would that be what Connection said?
I don't think it's desperate for her. I think as long as it's good.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of juice in the ground.
went twice on good ground,
Yeah,
though, hasn't
yeah. The 2 wins at Cheltenham have come on decent ground, so I'm not worried about that.
Just about
Just worried about what the Irish are going to unleash on.
the crappy meatloaf joke. So I was on the radio with Mark Lawrenson on Saturday, and
Should we hold the sign up for applause when you,
every time Mark says something, the presenter is like, "Jesus, what's he going to say here?" But he was like, I was on a game with Stubbsy, he called him. Who's Stubbs? The
Ray Stubbs?
Ray Stubbs, the presenter. And they said we'd always have a pint before match of the day, but the match of the day was hours later, so we'd have 1 pint. And they're walking down the steps from the game, and Tom Jones starts walking up against him. Tom Jones is a fan of maybe Cardiff, not possibly a Welsh team, but they're like, oh, what do we say here? So Tom Jones goes to the lads, what was the score in the Cardiff game? And they go, it was 2-1. He goes, not unusual, is it? That actually happened. That actually happened. I was like, is this the most stupid joke ever? It actually happened. It's not unusual. More of this in the second half.
Yeah. Well, on that bombshell and that
It'll be a
note,
second half.
that
will be
will
gone.
wrap up our preview of the Cheltenham Festival Day 2. Thank you very much once again for joining us for this special Racing Weekly podcast brought to you by oddschecker in association with Bet365. It's time for something to eat, refill those glasses. 2 more days to go. I bet you cannot wait.